It is also true that America is one of those unique nations because we have patterns like ancient Rome, like ancient Israel, like ancient Babylon, and even like Egypt. Let me give you a couple of these. Number one, this is an Egyptian picture. The Great Pyramid in Giza, Egypt. We have the Great Pyramid on the back of the $1 bill. The all-seeing eye of the pyramid is said to be the all-seeing eye of God. However, in Egypt, it was Horus or Ra who was looking down on the nation. The Washington Monument is an obelisk, which is actually, if we go back to Egypt, was a monument to the sun god Ra. And again, we're not saying that that's what we made it. Our founders took it and redeveloped it, but I'm saying this is Egypt. That's where it came from. We're just simply telling you where it came from. The Egyptian leader was called a young lion among the nations. Egypt had a 5-pointed star that represents the 5 forces of nature, and our flag has 5-pointed stars on our flag. The Statue of Liberty, which we call her Lady Liberty, was patterned similar after the Egyptian goddess Isis. The phoenix bird, which never dies but reemerges and redevelops itself, was actually the first bird representing America, and it was later changed to the eagle being, of course, an emblem of ancient Rome. Now, Bill, go back in with the people, because most people would not be aware of this unless they followed our ministry for many, many years. But back in the year 2008, it happened, oddly enough, the week of the inauguration. Tell us what was being read in the synagogue, in Jewish synagogues that week, and what we begin to predict based on patterns. Okay. If you'll go back and go and talk about the patterns that we talked about.
Well, first of all, I want to go back to the first program we did in this series. I said, when we discuss all the different similarities, I'll get it out here in a minute, that we have with all these different ancient cultures, I said, if you're going to pin me to the mat, I'd say that America probably identifies more with Egypt than any other, and because of some of the things that you just listed here. You know, the obelisk, the Washington Monument, that has direct links back to Egypt, and so on and so on. So that being said, when we saw the election results in 2008, of course the inauguration came in January of 2009, I had already seen, and we had discussed, that the Torah portions, the way they were lining up, was interesting in this context.
The Torah being the 5 books of Moses that are read every week in the synagogue.
Right, they're divided up into different portions.
Yes.
All right, so when we get into January 2009, specifically on the day of the inauguration, or that week, the Torah portion is called Shemot, which is, we would say, Exodus, and it's the beginning of the story of the Exodus. And in that Torah portion, it talks about how that after the death of Joseph and that generation, how there arose a king who didn't know Joseph, and which is to be understood to mean, it's not that he didn't know who he was, it's just that he didn't regard him. He didn't respect him. And you have to keep in mind that Joseph is why Egypt became the superpower that it was. So he didn't respect or regard that which made Egypt great, but actually began to see God's people in Egypt as a threat. They're more and mightier than we are. And so he goes to his counselors, and he says, we need to devise a very wise plan how to keep these people down. Well, the first thing, once again, is the inauguration in January 2009 coincided with the Torah portion, which included this new king who arose, who didn't know Joseph, who identified God's people as the enemy, and who began, along with those in his government, for lack of a better word, began to implement policies that were designed to keep God's people subjected and in the land to be, more or less, to use modern vernacular, their tax base.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.